The mansion overlooked the city like a kingdom above the clouds. Every sunrise painted its towering glass walls with gold, while rows of luxury cars rested quietly beside the grand entrance. Armed guards stood at every gate, cameras watched every corner, and no one stepped onto the estate without permission. It was the kind of home people only saw in magazines. For Amara, however, it was where she had built her life, with the man she loved. Every morning began the same way. She walked through the silent halls with a gentle smile, greeting the house staff before heading toward the kitchen. "Good morning, Mrs. Han," one of the maids greeted. "Good morning, Sophia. Has Minjae come downstairs yet?" "Not yet, ma'am. I'll make his coffee first." She smiled to herself as she reached for the coffee beans. It had become a routine. No matter how many servants filled the mansion, she insisted on preparing Minjae's morning coffee herself. "It's the only coffee that wakes me up," he always joked. A few minutes later, footsteps echoed from the staircase. "There you are," Amara smiled. Minjae adjusted the sleeve of his black suit before returning her smile. "I knew I'd find you here. You always do." He walked closer, wrapping one arm around her waist. "You woke up early again. I wanted to spend a little time with my husband before your meetings steal you away." He laughed softly. "I'll make it up to you. You've been saying that all week. I know. You missed dinner on Monday. I did. You came home after midnight on Tuesday. I'm sorry. You left before I even woke up yesterday. I know." She looked into his eyes for a moment before smiling again. "I just miss you." Minjae gently brushed a strand of hair away from her face. "I miss you too. Then promise me you'll come home early tonight." He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he glanced toward the dining room where one of his security officers had quietly appeared. "Sir, the convoy is ready." Minjae gave a slight nod before looking back at Amara. "I'll try." She noticed his choice of words. "You'll try. I have an important meeting." "You always have an important meeting." He forced a smile. "I'll do my best." Amara nodded, though something about his answer felt different. Not wrong, just different. She couldn't explain why. "Okay," she whispered. He kissed her forehead before walking toward the entrance. Outside, 5 black SUVs waited with their engines already running. Within seconds, Minjae disappeared inside the lead vehicle. The convoy rolled through the massive gates and disappeared beyond the trees. Amara stood quietly on the front steps. "I hope he really comes home tonight." She turned and walked back inside. She never noticed the black sedan parked nearly 200 meters away. Its engine remained off. Behind the tinted window, a man slowly lowered a pair of binoculars. Right on time. He reached for a professional camera resting beside him. Click. One photograph of the convoy. Click. Another photograph. Click. A third. He zoomed in on the lead SUV until Minjae's face became visible through the glass. You haven't changed." The man placed the camera down and unlocked another phone. Unlike his personal phone, this one contained nothing. No contacts, no photos, no call history, only a blank messaging app. His fingers slowly moved across the keyboard. "Good morning, Mrs. Han." He stared at the message, then frowned. No, not yet. He deleted every word, started typing again. "Do you really know the man you married?" He stared at the screen for nearly 30 seconds. Again, he deleted everything. Still too soon. He switched the phone off and placed it back inside the glove compartment. The sedan quietly started moving, not close enough to attract attention, not far enough to lose the convoy. Back at the mansion, Amara spent the next few hours preparing for the charity gala she and Minjae planned to host the following weekend. She reviewed guest lists, checked flower arrangements, approved decorations. Everything seemed perfectly normal, until her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She frowned. Another spam message? She almost ignored it. Instead, she opened it. There were only 5 words. "Some promises are never meant." The message stopped there. No period. No second sentence. Nothing else. Amara stared at it. "What kind of message is this?" She replied. "Who is this?" Less than 5 seconds later, the message disappeared. "This message has been deleted." "What?" She blinked several times, then checked again. Gone. Completely gone. That's strange. She tried calling the number. The call wouldn't connect. She looked confused. Maybe it's just a network problem. She slipped the phone back into her pocket. Within minutes, she had forgotten about it. But somewhere across the city, The mysterious man watched his own phone screen. She replied. A faint smile crossed his face. Good, but not yet. He looked ahead. Min Jae's convoy turned onto another road. The man followed at a safe distance. You've lied for a long time, he whispered quietly. But everyone runs out of time eventually. He pressed harder on the accelerator. His eyes never left the convoy. And for reasons Amara couldn't possibly know, this was only the beginning. The following morning, Amara woke before sunrise. She reached across the bed, cold. She slowly opened her eyes. The room was silent. Min Jae? No answer. She sat up and looked toward the bathroom. Empty. A faint aroma of coffee drifted into the bedroom. She smiled. So he's awake already. After changing into a cream-colored sweater and black trousers, she walked downstairs, expecting to find him waiting in the dining room. Instead, only the staff were there. Good morning, Mrs. Han, Sophia greeted. Morning. Where's Min Jae? He left about 20 minutes ago. Amara stopped walking. He left? Yes, ma'am. He didn't wake me. Sophia shook her head. He said you looked exhausted and didn't want to disturb your sleep. Amara forced a smile. I see. She looked toward the empty chair where Min Jae usually waited for her every morning. For the first time in months, breakfast felt strangely lonely. Across the city, the black convoy cruised through the early morning traffic. Several vehicles behind, the same gray sedan followed. Its driver wore the same black cap, the same sunglasses, the same calm expression. Click. Another photograph. So, you've changed your schedule. He reached for a notebook resting beside him. He quietly wrote down the exact time the convoy left the mansion. Then another note. Left earlier than usual. He closed the notebook. Interesting. Back at the mansion, Amara tried calling Min Jae. The phone rang twice before connecting. Good morning, Min Jae answered. You left without saying goodbye. I'm sorry. You've never done that before. I didn't want to wake you. You could have left me a note. I know. His voice sounded rushed. I'll make it up to you. She smiled faintly. You keep saying that. I mean it. I'll hold you to it. I have to go. So soon? The meeting's about to begin. Okay. I'll call you later. Before she could answer, the call ended. She stared at the phone. He didn't even say I love you. A strange feeling settled in her chest. Small, almost impossible to notice. But it was there. Nearly 3 hours later, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She frowned. Again? She opened the message. There was no photo, no name, only one sentence. Has he ever left without saying goodbye before? Amara's eyes widened. How? She immediately typed. Who are you? The reply came within seconds. Answer the question. Her fingers hovered above the screen. After a long pause, she replied, No, nothing. No response. She waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Still nothing. Who keeps doing this? She tried calling the number. Unavailable. Again. The number no longer existed. Amara slowly lowered the phone. The message itself wasn't frightening. What frightened her was that whoever sent it somehow knew Min Jae had left before she woke up. That wasn't information a stranger should know. She looked toward the front gate through the enormous windows. The security guards continued their patrols. Everything looked normal. Yet, for the first time, the mansion no longer felt completely safe. That afternoon, Min Jae returned a call while sitting inside the back seat of his SUV. No. He looked out the window. I said not today. A pause. I'll decide when the time is right. He ended the call. One of his security officers glanced back. Everything okay, sir? Min Jae nodded. Drive. No one spoke again. Several cars behind. The mysterious driver smiled slightly. There it is. You almost slipped. He lifted his camera once more. Click, click, click. Every movement was recorded. Every destination noted. Every minute counted. Back at the mansion, Amara tried to push the strange messages out of her mind. She spent the afternoon helping decorators prepare the ballroom. Flowers arrived. Musicians rehearsed. The chef finalized the menu. Everything should have distracted her. It didn't. She kept checking her phone. Nothing. Until 6:42 p.m. Another vibration. Unknown number. This time, only 4 words appeared. Watch. Don't ask. Amara frowned. What does that even mean? She looked around instinctively. Was someone watching her? She walked to the nearest window. The driveway was quiet. The gardens were peaceful. The guards stood exactly where they always did. Nothing looked unusual. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone, somewhere, already knew everything she was doing. She locked her phone and slipped it into her pocket. Just then, the sound of engines echoed outside. Min Jae's convoy had returned. A smile immediately crossed her face. Maybe she was worrying over nothing. She hurried toward the entrance. The front doors opened. "There you are," she said warmly. Min Jae smiled. "I told you I'd be back. You actually kept your promise." He laughed. "I said I'd try." She hugged him. For a brief moment, everything felt normal again, until his phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen. His smile disappeared, only for a second. Then he quickly locked the phone and slipped it back into his pocket. Amara noticed. "Work?" He nodded too quickly. "Yeah. You seem distracted." "It's nothing." "You sure?" He smiled. "I'm sure." She wanted to believe him. She truly did. But deep inside, that tiny feeling she'd ignored all day had grown just a little stronger. Not enough to accuse him, not enough to argue, just enough to make her wonder. 3 days passed. The strange messages never stopped, but they never revealed enough to answer Amara's questions. Instead, they only left her with more. Every morning, one message. Every afternoon, another. Every evening, silence. The sender never introduced himself, never demanded money, never threatened her. He simply watched. And somehow, he always seemed to know exactly what Min Jae had done that day. Monday. "Has he called you today?" She looked at the message before replying. "Yes." "Why?" No response. Tuesday. "Did he come home before midnight?" She frowned. "Who are you?" Again. No answer. Wednesday. "How many times has he canceled dinner this month?" Amara froze. She had never counted. Now, she started thinking. Once, twice, 5 times, maybe more. She slowly locked her phone. No, I'm overthinking this. That evening, Min Jae finally returned home. He looked exhausted. His tie hung loosely around his neck. "I'm sorry," he sighed. "I know. You waited for dinner again?" She smiled. "I always wait." He looked guilty. "I hate disappointing you." "I know you do." He stepped closer. "When this project is over," she interrupted with a smile, "you'll finally have time for me." He laughed quietly. "You've memorized my lines. You've repeated them enough." Both laughed. Yet, the laughter disappeared much faster than usual. Later that night, Amara woke after hearing a vibration. She turned slightly. Min Jae's phone lit up on the bedside table. He reached for it almost immediately. She pretended to stay asleep. Without realizing she was watching, he quietly stood, walked onto the balcony, closed the glass door behind him. His voice became too faint to understand. She could only see him, standing alone, talking for nearly 10 minutes. When he returned, he carefully placed the phone back down, then looked toward the bed. Amara quickly closed her eyes. Several seconds passed. Finally, he lay beside her. Only then did she open her eyes again. She stared at the ceiling. Who calls someone after midnight? The following morning, she almost asked him, almost. Instead, she smiled. "Did you sleep well?" "I did." "You were on the balcony last night." Min Jae paused. "Oh, a business call. At midnight?" "There was a problem overseas." "I see," he answered too quickly. She nodded. "I hope everything worked out." It did. He kissed her forehead. "I'll see you tonight." Once again, he left. Across the road, the gray sedan remained parked beneath the shade of a large tree. The mysterious man lowered his camera. "You lied." He quietly watched the convoy disappear, then unlocked the second phone. He typed, "Did he tell you who called him last night?" He pressed send. Amara's phone vibrated. She stopped walking. Her heartbeat quickened. She opened it. The words felt heavier than any message before. "Did he tell you who called him last night?" Her hands slowly tightened around the phone. "How?" she whispered. "How could anyone know that?" She replied immediately. "Who are you?" The typing bubble appeared, stopped, appeared again. Then, "You're asking the wrong question." She stared. Her fingers trembled. "Then what's the right question?" Several seconds passed. Finally, another message arrived. "Ask him where he really was between 10:30 and 11:15 last night." Amara's breathing slowed. Last night? He had told her he was working on the balcony. Why would anyone ask about that specific time? Before she could type another word, the sender disappeared again. Number unavailable. No history. Nothing. She sat down slowly. Her mind replayed every detail. The phone vibration, the balcony, the 10-minute call, his quick answer, his calm smile. Was she imagining things? Or had someone just exposed the first crack in the perfect life she believed she had? That evening, Min Jae returned earlier than expected. He walked into the living room carrying a small gift bag. For you. Amara smiled. You didn't have to. I know. She opened it. Inside was an elegant diamond bracelet. It's beautiful. I saw it yesterday. You remembered. I always remember. She looked at him. His smile looked genuine. His eyes looked sincere. The man standing before her was the same man she had fallen in love with. So why wouldn't the questions leave her mind? She took a slow breath. Can I ask you something? Anything. Where were you between 10:30 and 11:15 last night? For the first time, Min Jae's smile disappeared. Only for a heartbeat. Then it returned. I told you I was handling work. She nodded. Right. He looked directly into her eyes. Why are you asking? She forced a small smile. No reason. He studied her face for several seconds, then gently held her hand. Amara. You trust me, don't you? She looked at him. Every part of her wanted to say yes immediately. Instead, she hesitated, only for a second. But Min Jae noticed, and somewhere outside the mansion, the man inside the gray sedan lowered his binoculars. A faint smile crossed his face. The doubt has begun. Amara couldn't sleep that night. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling while Min Jae slept peacefully beside her. One question refused to leave her mind. Why did he hesitate? It wasn't what he said. It was the way he said it. For 3 years, whenever she asked him anything, he answered without thinking. But this time, there had been a pause. A very small pause. Most people would never notice it. Amara did. The following morning, Min Jae was already dressed when she came downstairs. Morning, he smiled. Morning. You look tired. I couldn't sleep. Worried about the gala? She forced a smile. Something like that. He walked over and kissed her forehead. I'll be back before dinner. You promise? I promise. She nodded. I'll be waiting. The convoy pulled away from the mansion a few minutes later. Amara stood at the entrance until the last SUV disappeared. She turned to walk back inside. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She stopped instantly. Her heart beat faster than usual. She opened the message. Don't ask him questions anymore, she frowned. Another message appeared. He already knows you're beginning to notice. Her breathing became uneven. No. A third message arrived before she could reply. If you keep asking, you'll become more careful. Amara immediately typed, Who are you? What do you want from me? This time, the reply came almost immediately. I want you to see the truth with your own eyes. Her fingers froze. Another message. Not my words. Not his excuses. Your own eyes. She swallowed hard. For the first time, she didn't delete the conversation. Instead, she saved the number, even though she knew it would disappear again. Across the city, the gray sedan remained several vehicles behind Min Jae's convoy. The mysterious man spoke quietly into a small recorder. Day 8. Subject has become more cautious. Wife is beginning to question his routine. He clicked the recorder off. His eyes never left the convoy. You can't hide forever, Min Jae. That afternoon, Amara tried to distract herself. She reviewed invitations, spoke with the event planner, walked through the mansion gardens. Nothing worked. Every few minutes, she looked at her phone. Nothing. Until 3:18 p.m. Buzz. Unknown number. She opened it immediately. This time, there was a photograph. Her heart skipped. It showed Min Jae's convoy. Nothing unusual. She looked confused. Another message arrived. Look carefully. She zoomed in. The lead SUV. The second SUV. The third. Nothing. She almost put the phone away. Then she noticed it. A silver sedan, parked across the street. It appeared in the background. The same sedan, in another picture, and another. As if someone had been following Min Jae for days. She typed quickly, Are you following my husband? The reply came. Yes. No explanation, no apology. Just one word. Yes. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Why? The typing bubble appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Finally. Because someone has to. Before she could send another message, the chat disappeared again. This contact is no longer available. She lowered the phone. What is happening? That evening, Min-jae returned home carrying a bouquet of white roses. For you. Amara smiled. They're beautiful. I know I've been busy. You have. I don't want you thinking I've forgotten about us. She accepted the flowers. I never said that. You didn't have to. He smiled warmly. For a moment, she almost forgot everything. The messages. The strange phone calls, the hesitation, the questions. Maybe someone really was trying to destroy their marriage. Maybe she had been unfair. As they sat together in the living room, Min-jae's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His expression changed. Again. He stood immediately. I need to take this. She watched him walk toward his private office. The door closed, locked. 20 minutes passed, then 30. When he finally returned, he smiled. Sorry. Everything okay? Just business. She nodded. You seem to have a lot of business lately. He laughed softly. It'll calm down. She smiled back. But this time, she didn't completely believe him. 11:47 p.m. The mansion was silent. Amara was reading when her phone vibrated once more. Unknown number. She opened it. Only one sentence. Tomorrow, don't let him know you're following him. Her eyes widened. Another message arrived. If he realizes you're behind him, you'll never learn the truth. Her hands began to shake. She stared at the screen for nearly a minute, then slowly typed, "Where is he going?" The reply came almost instantly. "Tomorrow morning. I'll tell you when the time comes." The chat vanished. Amara sat frozen. She looked toward the bedroom where Min-jae was sleeping peacefully, then back at her phone. Tomorrow. For the first time, she made a decision. She wasn't going to ask him another question. She wasn't going to accuse him. She was going to find the answer herself, no matter where it led. The following morning, Amara woke before dawn. She didn't wake Min-jae. She didn't ask where he was going. She didn't ask about the late-night calls. She simply watched. From the bedroom window, she saw the familiar line of black SUVs pull up outside the mansion. A few moments later, Min-jae walked out wearing a charcoal suit, looking as calm and confident as ever. He leaned into the car window, spoke briefly with one of his security men, then glanced back toward the mansion. For a split second, Amara stepped away from the curtain. "I can't let him see me." She waited until the convoy disappeared through the gates. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She opened the message immediately. "Leave now." Another message followed. "Don't follow too closely." Her heart pounded. She grabbed her handbag, keys, and phone before rushing downstairs. "Sophia." "Yes, Mrs. Han. If Min-jae calls, tell him I went shopping." Of course. Within minutes, Amara was driving behind the convoy, keeping several vehicles between herself and Min-jae's SUVs. Every traffic light made her heart race. Every turn filled her with more questions. Finally, her phone buzzed again. "He's changing routes. Stay calm." She tightened her grip on the steering wheel. The convoy turned away from the business district. "That's not the way to his office," she whispered. Another message arrived. "Keep following." 20 minutes later, the SUVs slowed outside one of the city's most luxurious hotels. Amara's heart skipped. "No." She watched Min-jae step out of the lead vehicle. He spoke briefly with his security team before walking through the revolving doors alone. Her breathing became uneven. This has to be another meeting. She wanted to believe it. She needed to believe it. Then, her phone vibrated again. "Go inside." She stepped out of her car. Her legs felt unusually heavy as she entered the elegant hotel lobby. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead. Soft piano music echoed through the room. Everything looked peaceful, yet her heart beat louder with every step. Another message. "Take the elevator to the 27th floor." She obeyed. The elevator doors closed. Every passing floor seemed to last forever. 22, 23, 24. She could hear her own heartbeat. 25, 26. Ding! The doors opened. The hallway was silent. Luxurious carpets softened every footstep. Her phone vibrated once more. Room 2708. She slowly walked toward the door. Each step felt heavier than the last. "What if this is all a mistake?" she whispered. "What if someone is trying to destroy us?" She reached the door. Her hand trembled. She raised it, then slowly pushed the handle. The door wasn't locked. It opened. Her world stopped. Min-jae stood inside the suite. A young woman was beside him. The room fell silent. Min-jae turned. His face lost all color. Amara. She couldn't speak. She looked from Minjae to the woman, then back again. The woman quietly picked up her handbag. I'm leaving. She walked past Amara without saying another word. The door closed behind her. Silence. Painful silence. Finally, Minjae stepped forward. Amara, listen to me. She raised a hand. Don't. It isn't what you think. She laughed. A broken laugh. I've heard people say that before. I can explain. You lied to me. I never wanted you to find out like this. You never wanted me to find out at all. Tears rolled down her cheeks. For weeks, I defended you. I believed every excuse. I ignored every warning. And all this time, you were lying. Minjae lowered his head. I'm sorry. You don't get to say you're sorry. I made a terrible mistake. You made hundreds of them. She removed her wedding ring. He looked up immediately. No. She placed it on the table. Our marriage ended long before today. It ends officially now. He took a step toward her. Please don't leave. She shook her head. The man I married would never have done this. I love you. If you loved me, you would never have betrayed me. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Minjae remained standing in the middle of the suite. He didn't chase her. He couldn't. For the first time in years, the powerful man who could command hundreds of people couldn't stop the one person who truly mattered. Weeks later, Amara signed the divorce papers. She left the mansion. She built a new life on her own terms. It wasn't easy, but every day she became stronger. As for Minjae, his wealth remained, his influence remained, his businesses continued, but none of it filled the emptiness inside him. Every room in the mansion reminded him of Amara. Every cup of coffee reminded him of the mornings she smiled at him. Every promise he had broken echoed through the silent halls. He had spent years protecting his empire, only to lose the woman who had made that empire feel like home. Sometimes, the greatest loss isn't money, it isn't power. It's realizing too late that the person you hurt was the one person who truly loved you. If you were Amara, would you have forgiven Minjae, or would you have walked away forever? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more emotional and suspenseful stories like this.